Designation once upon a time. She's back on the beat, back in New York for us on this one. Also, Simone Bienne is a relationship expert joining us from Los Angeles. So, ladies, welcome. Dana Bash, I go to you first because I know Anthony Weiner's out and about. Our cameras caught him today saying, you know, listen, this isn't about me. This is about the economy. This is about education. You know, clearly he is trying to keep the focus, trying, the operative word, to keep the focus on the issues. How's that working?
Well, you know, we'll see. He hasn't had any public events yet. I'm currently at Pace University in the downtown part of Manhattan, and he is going to have an event here on housing. Later tonight, he's going to go to another borough, the Bronx, to talk about education. So he's very much trying to keep his public schedule as if nothing ever happened yesterday, as if the dirty.com, you can't make this up, the dirty.com published these photographs of him and these sex that he had exchanges with a 22-year-old woman, apparently, a year ago, a year after he resigned from Congress. But, you know, in his comments to CNN and other reporters who caught up with him right outside of his house this morning, he not only talked about the issues and looking forward, he also said the citizens will decide. Translation, he's not going anywhere. He's staying on the ballot. He's staying in this race. And I've not heard anything to counter that from anybody who is close to him.
Dan, I want to come back to you on the polls, but Simone, based upon it, and listen, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. We're not in on their, presumably, their therapy sessions. But based upon what we know, based upon what we've read, some of us on the dirty, how do you describe Weiner's behavior?
Oh, it's despicable, actually. In the sense that this isn't a college kid. This is a 48-year-old man who clearly needs his ego stroked by getting the attention of young women. But what's very interesting is how he chose to act out wasn't in a relational sense. So this could be an indication that he has some kind of intimacy disorder. It could be that he is just completely narcissistic. He sees his role as a politician. Well, this is what men do. This is what politicians do. He could be addicted to the thrill of the power and the thrill-seeking. I mean, who knows? It would be fascinating to be part of their therapy sessions. But I'm very interested, Brooke, in her role as well, standing by her man, because I think all three of us women, if we were having a cocktail right now, we would be discussing this thinking, what's going on?
And a lot of people are saying, how can she stand by their man? A lot of people perhaps see a sliver of themselves in Huma Abedin. How does a wife in a situation like this, and again, you know, she reiterated in front of all those cameras yesterday, we decided together to have him run for mayor. We are putting this behind us. I have forgiven him. Describe the process for someone like her.
Well, I think because she obviously works in politics herself, she has power in the White House. So she could be politically motivated. Obviously, she works for Hillary Clinton. There could be an incentive there. We saw the success of Hillary Clinton's career. So she could be fiercely ambitious. And if he succeeds, then in some senses, she succeeds. If he doesn't succeed, then this will all be for nothing. But it could also be part of her cultural expectations of what a wife must do. And look, we all know that women like to take care of men. Potentially women can rescue the damaged guy. This could be a good fit for her. But again, as you say, Brooke, if only we were in on those therapy sessions.
Well, we're not, and you know, listen, I wish them the
best. Thank goodness for that.
Well, thank goodness for that. You took the words out of my mouth, Dana Bash. But let's talk about the race, because the numbers, at least the polls that I've seen, you know, before this whole thing broke, you know, indicate that a lot of New Yorkers support Anthony Weiner.
A lot more than maybe people on the outside would have thought initially. But the thing to keep in mind about this mayor's race, it is a multi-candidate race. And the way it works is that if they don't get a certain level of support, then there's a runoff. So, you know, Anthony Weiner was basically running for the runoff, like all of the candidates are here. And I've talked to some sort of Democratic power brokers here in the city as I've been here. And, you know, they made the case that some of those, his opponents, were actually going easy on him so far. And the reason is because they wanted to run against him in the runoff because they thought that would be the easiest way to win and head to Gracie Mansion. The other thing to keep in mind is that some of the polls that showed him doing okay, considering, were not of of likely voters, but of sort of general voters. And there's a big difference when you look at polling between likely voters and sort of more of the general electorate.
Dana Bash, Simone Bienne, thank you both, ladies. We appreciate it very much. Coming